Everybody to Bitcoin Live. Today it's Saturday, and with me in the show is Shankar, CEO and founder of Green Earth Blockchain Token. Welcome to Bitcoin Live, Shankar.
Hi, Nick. Great to be back with you after a gap of a month. And we have many updates this time, as I mentioned earlier, last in the call, and we can share them in this video. And we're happy to share all our updates through your channel.
I'm really looking forward to it. Of course, also happy holidays to everybody watching and to you, Shankar. And let's see what 2023 brought and what 2024 will bring. I'll open the slide right now.
Yeah.
There we go.
So, this is like just to emphasize that the purpose or the objective of Green Earth blockchain is to bring transparency into the global food supply chain and natural healthcare and natural resources, all of them essentially linked to what gets produced by nature and what we would like to see remain as authentic and delivered as authentic, and then use the blockchain to track every part of that and publish everything transparently so that there is no scope for any time, adulteration or tampering.
Yeah, and that's very important. So let's go to the next slide.
The next slide is a very standard disclaimer, which I would like to mention, that the Green Earth blockchain is GBT token, which is the tracking instrument for all our efforts in transparency, is a utility token meant for the working of the project, and it is not representing any asset or security. And there are no guarantees of any type regarding the token price appreciation on any time frame. And as part of this discussion, we will talk about our project goals, vision, and these are forward-looking statements, and they are not assurances or guarantees of any type. And like any new technology project, there is always technology risk and market risk involved in the project.
Yeah, these are important things that people should realize. And as with everything else on Bitcoin Live, this is not financial advice. This is purely educational and informative. But we love Green Earth Blockchain Token and what it stands for. So I'm looking forward to the show. Let's get into it.
Let's go to the next slide. So the big update from the last time is that the Ganga project e-commerce site is live. And
Nice.
so that basically, for those who have been following the project, Green Earth blockchain is basically a combination of the blockchain and the physical supply chain. And because the actual production consumption of food products or natural products happens in the real world on the ground. So unless we have a method of accurately tracking every aspect on the ground and then publishing it and recording it and tracking it transparently on the blockchain, unless the two things can happen together, the blockchain by itself is of no use. For example, Green Earth blockchain is very, very different from the usual DeFi blockchain projects that you see. Those kind of projects can completely live standalone on the blockchain. For example, Bitcoin can live without ever being connected to the real world. Okay.
Yeah.
And so on the other side, Green Earth blockchain is exactly the opposite end of the spectrum, where the blockchain cannot exist without the physical chain, because that's why we always called our project a hybrid, where it is a mix of the two, and it is in the successful tracking of the physical chain that the blockchain gets the value in the case of Green Earth blockchain. So in that sense, while the development of the Green Earth blockchain was completed a few months ago, we were waiting for the Ganga e-commerce site to get ready, because that was a critical piece, the physical project, and that went live this month in December. And so it's by the go live of Ganga project that Green Earth actually goes live, because it is through the tracking of this e-commerce transactions that Green Earth gets the value. And so hence So by Ganga project going live, Green Earth essentially goes live, and now every product on the Ganga project site, e-commerce site, is now uh, the product exists on the site only because it has been fully tracked authentically. The entire chain is visible to us, and that's how the product appears. Otherwise, that product cannot even come on the site. And so it's fully authentic and fully transparent. And if the names, as we saw in the previous call, the blockchain is there on every product page, and we will see again today the names of the specific participants and the exact revenue share percentage is displayed on the product page. And this is the first of its kind in the world. We have never seen any company or any e-commerce or any product seller do either of these two things. One, establish the full chain transparently from where the product getting produced, which farm, which farmer, and who is the one involved in, let's say, packaging or handling that, and who is involved in whatever stages it is, and till the customer. The entire chain with names that has not been shown before, because the moment you show that, there is no scope for any adulteration. The second is that there has never been a transparent revenue share display of every participant in the chain on any e-commerce site ever. And so these two things, the transparent naming of every participant and the transparent revenue share, these are firsts of its kind in the world. And this level of transparency has never been seen before. So that's why this is a very important milestone for Green Earth blockchain to go live now.
Yeah, and that makes it very exciting because we do know some projects that had this aspiration or that have something in the name along, something in that regard. But you guys are actually the first one to pull it off and on a really massive scale. And like you say, GBT is nothing without the project, right? GBT is the project, so that makes it, that makes it really exciting. And I'll pull up the
So
slide again.
yeah, so in that sense, so full credit goes to Ganga project team on the ground, which has been working, and so it's a we have one part on the blockchain development and one on the e-commerce development. We have been working together, and so to like so you can say that as we end the year, we are live now in the full way, and you can see the next slide now.
Yep.
So it's, as I was saying, it's with the go live of Ganga project e-commerce site that the Green Earth blockchain is live, because it is tracking all the transactions happening on Ganga project, and all the details of each e-commerce transaction, including the participants and the revenue shares, will get published on Green Earth blockchain. So that's going to be recorded forever. So every transaction will be recorded on the blockchain, and it is going to be transparent, so everyone can see worldwide on what happened in which transaction. Of course, the names are not going to be displayed. It will always be as user 123, user 457, user XYZ. But those are the different participants of that particular transaction. So it's not that we are publishing the names of customers, except none of those names get published, but the user IDs do get published, and
Yep.
along with whatever share of uh, GBT tokens they received on that transaction as a reward. And so, and the GBT is going to track the authenticity. That's why the GBT is a tracker of authenticity, because everyone involved in a given transaction gets a small part of GBT token, like a fractional GBT token, and that proves their participation in that authentic chain that we have established. And each transaction, like we discussed in the previous call, in case of Green Earth blockchain, every e-commerce transaction is the equivalent of mining effort in, let's say, Bitcoin. So it's through the e-commerce transactions that the tokens get released.
Yeah, and it makes it really, very transparent, right? And it
Yeah,
makes the whole chain easy to follow, easy to interact with, but also it gets all the GBT tokens allocated in the right places, in the right
yeah,
amounts, to the
mm,
right amount of work that has been delivered.
yeah. So, and yeah, that the way we see is that we'll see the examples. So here,
Yeah.
for example, we have shown this slide where I we picked three products that have been selling. There are several products getting sold by the early customers, but we can see three of these. So if you can pick the
Yeah.
link,
I'm gonna go to the honey first, okay?
yeah, the first one.
Okay. Yeah.
So this is an example of the product getting sold. Uh, it's called exotic winter honey, and so here, if you scroll down,
Yes.
on the top itself, you can see the green earth. The important thing here is the green earth rating. That's 8.5. So 8.5 is one of the highest possible scores, because it's not just the score is calculated based on multiple factors involved. The scarcity of the product is a factor, but also the packaging involved and the distances that it has to ship. Multiple things get involved, but by itself, this 8.5 shows that this is a relatively rare product and whose supply will not increase with demand easily.
I see. I see.
Okay,
Yeah.
so for example, wheat would be much lower, maybe 5 or lower, 4, 5, like that, 3, depending on what product of we're talking about, because the supply can rapidly increase with demand, means more acres can be applied by farmers and more wheat can be produced. And however, it is not the case with this honey, that tomorrow if everybody in the world wants this honey will not suddenly become 1000x more in supply. It will remain the same.
Yeah. Yeah. That
So in that
makes sense.
sense, and in that sense, when we say that the green earth tokens are being so when we say green earth tokens are getting issued, they are being issued by the quantity of honey. For example, just to give an example, indicative example, 1 kg of this honey would release 1 GBT token. Okay.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
So now tomorrow, if this honey is 3 times more expensive, we will still have only 1 GBT token getting released for 1 kg of this honey, which means that GBT token is now 3x more valuable, because the honey has increased 3 times in value, but still we only get 1 GBT token for that honey, because
Yeah.
the tokens are linked not to the price but to the quantity of these products.
Yeah. So basically, the purchasing power, right?
Yes, the supply. The right word is supply.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. But yeah.
and because the supply doesn't increase with
Yeah.
the supply of many of these products, which are natural and authentic, their supply is not linearly increasing with demand. Their supply often remains constrained, and that is what we want to bring out through this project, that authentic products are not increasing with demand as you want, and the only thing that can increase is their price if demand increases. It's very
Yeah.
similar to how, if you think this way, that the honey supply is not going to increase with demand, it is very static or relatively confined in its production. That's very similar to how Bitcoin is. Just because everybody wants Bitcoin, we will not get more Bitcoins. They are very limited in their quantity.
Yeah. And it's kind of the reverse with fiat currency. So it's
Exactly. And
actually
fiat currency is something similar to, let's say, wheat. If lot of people want wheat, lot of farmers will produce wheat next year,
true. True. Yeah.
and that's why they have a lower green earth rating score.
So let's check the blockchain because
If you
that's
go down, you will see the blockchain here. And in this blockchain, we have a validator. Like we discussed, every product will have a validator. The validator is somebody who will be locally based. Okay.
yeah.
And that person's main work is to keep engaging with the producers or farmers and ensure the quality of the products coming through that source. Okay. And that's why the role is a validator. And with time, we will have validators for validators. So we'll get into that also. We've discussed that earlier, but that's the plan, to have validators as well as random quality control checks to ensure that the validators are working correctly. But validators is the equivalent of a node in our system.
Yes. Yeah.
And we have 4% for them. 52% of the income share, or the revenue share, goes to the farmer who's producing the honey. Okay. And 10% will go to the marketing unit, which is involved here, which may be involved in, let's say, the packaging and the necessary approvals. We have certain approval requirements, packaging requirements, confirmations, etc., required from regulatory perspective to actually sell a food product. The marketing unit is involved in all of that. Project unit is a 10%. This project unit is at a higher level. When I say that there will be uh, an organization, like an admin organization, which is involved in the entire region in the observation of the products, farmers. So who will validate the validator? It is the project unit.
Yeah.
So the
Makes
project unit is responsible for the overall governance of a local system. Okay, and they are responsible for onboarding new farmers, onboarding new validators, and validators also will require regular education and coaching to be more and more effective in their work. So the project unit is your core admin unit, also required for conducting events to onboard farmers and validators, also to educate them, and also to monitor the marketing unit. So basically it's your admin and governance unit. And then we have 4% for beneficiary, and that beneficiary is basically, these are people who are economically backward, socially backward, or marginalized people, and often with very low income, and they are very motivated to participate in this project because they are aware of what we are doing, and they are involved in marketing of our products. So we give 4% to them, and 20%, if you scroll down, uh,
yes.
is or is there 20% is to Ganga project. Yeah, if is in your case it's in the same line. In my case, it was below the PC. So
Yeah.
so yeah, so 20% is Ganga project, which is the uh, let's say the platform. So 20%, this is mostly static. It may be a bit lower. It's 20%, and the remaining 80 goes to the remaining participants. So this
And
is how the
I think
blockchain is.
you also explained that 20% will decline over the years as the role of the
It may
project becomes smaller, right?
it may decline depending on the scale if the volume picks up.
Yeah.
And it's also from this 20% that Ganga project has, but that's an important point to be brought up. From this 20%, the GBT tokens that are getting released, they get funded by this 20%, a part of this. The 5% of this is towards GBT tokens being released. So the GBT tokens being released, so for example, Green Earth, Green Earth gets a 5% share from this 20% as part of the service fee to do the work of displaying everything on blockchain, maintaining the system of Green Earth blockchain, and and so the entire blockchain part is getting a 5% from this 20%.
Yeah. Yeah. So it plays a crucial role in sort of the maintenance of the
Yes,
system.
yes. So let's next product.
Yes. Which one do you want to pick?
The second one,
Okay.
C20.
That's, I think, the apples, right?
Yep.
There we
Um,
go.
yeah. So here, these are the apples from like very remote parts of the Himalayas, and their supply is very limited, but they're very natural and without any form of chemicals, pesticides whatsoever. It's fully organic, almost the ultimate organic or natural apples. And their shipping, because the supply is less, so their shipping date is for next October and September. They'll come in September. The shipping date is kept as October, so they'll come in September October period next year. And as of now, I think many orders have come, and these may be already be almost close to getting closed out in terms of supply. So here the green earth rating is 7. Uh, it tells us that the reason is that here, if more demand comes, then we can onboard a few more farmers from the nearby villages who are also having similar apples. So there are
Yeah.
similar villages in the region. We got one village with us, so we can have one or two more villages, or we can have more villages. So therefore, the product is of high quality, but in terms of supply, the supply can increase, and hence the score is a bit lower than that honey we saw earlier, the wild honey.
That makes
So,
sense. Yeah.
and here if we go down, here we got very similar. And now just go down a bit. It's interesting here. The blockchain here, validator is lower than the previous one, 3%. And to give you an idea of that, this is probably indicating that the role of validator is very crucial in that honey, where the quality controls are very critical. It's because of the nature of that. Honey is prone to tampering
Hmm.
worldwide. It's difficult to tamper the apple.
Yeah.
So therefore, the validator has a slightly lower income share here. However, if you observe the farmer share, it's one of the highest you will see in the system at 74%.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
huge.
because in this case, in this particular product, bulk of the work has to be done by the farmer to ensure that the tree remains safe, and there's a lot of storms in that area to ensure that the apple actually reaches its maturity, to keep it safe till shipping. So they have a lot of work here, and hence they have a higher payout. And
Yeah.
the marketing unit is not 10% like the previous one. In this case, 5%. Project unit is also 5%. Beneficiary is also lower. And Ganga project, look at that. That's 10%.
I see. Yeah. Yeah. So, Shankar, when I sort of see the 74%, doesn't that also perhaps increase the risk that everybody starts farming apples because you sort of get more GBT? Or
Uh, yes, but the thing is that those apples are not so easy. The supply is not as easy as wheat. They are actually genuinely scarce. It's not like we can have these Himalayan apples in large quantities suddenly. But yes, then we can see if we have more apples, that's good because the price will go down. You see, the percentage doesn't have to go down. If you go up, you see the rate of the product. It's currently 1490 rupees. It can come
Mm.
down if supply
Yeah.
better.
Yeah. So it's classic supply and demand. So it fixes,
Yes,
restabilizes itself. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah. I just
but
wanted to
the
throw it out there in case people were
yeah, but
wondering.
we will have more supply if we involve more villages. But the percentage income can still remain while everything is viable, because the farmer indeed needs to get more in this case because they take a lot of effort to keep the tree on and the fruit till maturity. A lot of time in the fruit.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense.
So
So, and you also got some pictures down below. I also wanted to show those product stories you got and
yeah,
products you
yeah,
may
those are
also like and
uh, yeah, those are different products. Each of them has a background, villagers, farmers involved, and so yeah, that so the site is actually literally full of. If somebody spends time on the site, they will see a lot of almost the end. It's just getting there's a lot of content yet to come, but almost the entire in a few months it will be the entire rural India on the site here.
wow, it's
So
incredible.
yeah, and so we are, and the chain wherever we can establish the authenticity, those can come here, and that's what will really separate this e-commerce site from other sites, because here unless we have the end-to-end tracking of from where the product is coming, who is producing, almost like in the case of these apples, we specifically know from which trees the apples are coming, who is owning them, the farmers, the names, everything.
Yeah,
So
so it gives people the possibility to prove that they're authentic, right? That's
yes,
basically
yes.
what
So
you're
so,
offering
so
there, and you become
exactly,
part of the network.
exactly, and
Yeah,
we can be sure that no chemicals were involved in any of the stages, either in production or for as insecticides, or sometimes they even put wax and all these things on apples for preservation,
yeah,
for shipping purposes, longer life. These apples will have none of that, and the climate in which they grow is one of the really high quality climates. So these apples are in terms of nutrition quality very high, and that's why the demand for them is there. Even though the price is high, they're almost sold out.
yeah.
So
So
let's
shall we go
take
to the?
third product, yeah, D8.
Let's see. 1 second. My cat just messed up my setting a little bit. Yes, there we go. Arjuna.
Yeah. So yeah,
How do
Arjuna
you
is
pronounce
Arjuna.
Arjuna? Okay.
Yeah, in India the J is a J, unlike a Y here sometimes in Europe. So it's Arjuna, and it is actually
Okay.
a bark of a tree, the powder. And if you go in the description, it's very interesting. This is a very popular product in terms of Ayurvedic healthcare. Arjuna has been, see the description. Arjuna has
Yeah.
been used for heart ailments since hundreds of years. So it's very good for body vitality. So this Arjuna is useful, very useful for heart health, the health of heart. So People with,
over here. Yeah.
yeah, people who have, let's say, if there's a family history of, let's say, heart illness, heart attacks, weakness in the heart. So a lot of people consume this, and this is very popular in terms of. And so, but the thing is, uh, for an e-commerce product on the shelf sitting or in a retail store, how would you know that this powder in a bottle is authentic and it is
Yeah.
actually from that bark? What if it is half the bark and half some other bark? So this is why. So when it comes to products which have healthcare or medicinal value, the requirement for authenticity is really high,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
you can
Makes
be
sense.
sure that because there you can. So when a customer is buying this Arjuna powder from Ganga, he can be fully assured that this is 100% authentic, because we know the exact tree from where this is coming, and it's being validated also. So
And it,
that role of quality control is very critical when it comes to products which have a slightly health orientation or healthcare requirements.
and it has a rating of 5. I see.
Yes, because the supply can increase nicely here.
Yeah.
Because so in that sense, when we say five, it should be seen in terms of the context that if more demand came, we have more bark available in the forests that are available with us in general. That should be seen like that. So in that sense, more powder can be produced and shared from the available trees. At some point, if let's say the demand were increasing significantly from where we are, then the scarcity factor will start climbing, and here the rating may increase, but not at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah. And then
Okay,
we have the blockchain, which is
and
also
here
interesting.
and
Yeah.
here the as you will see, it's now again different. Validator 3%, like in the apples, because their role is there, but it's not as high as in the honey. Main thing to observe is the farmer, the producer from the tree owner, their share is less here.
Hmm.
And the share of the processing unit is higher, because you see we have the bark which has to be processed as a powder and packaged. Okay,
Yeah.
and therefore there's more work here. Unlike in the case of apples, which could just be literally shipped in a box, here there's a processing involved of the bark, and hence a higher percentage goes to the processing unit and the packaging unit and the
That's also
marketing unit.
that,
Yeah,
that
say again.
there's also more units involved. So that's also interesting to see that in the blockchain that that there's more involved,
Yes,
more yeah, more
more,
steps.
more. Yes, and correct. There's because the processing is specifically there, which was not there in the apples earlier.
Yeah.
Because this is a processed product with there's a powdering requirement in between, powdering and packaging, and so this is a new layer here, and that's the point, that if any layer is there, it's here, or it doesn't exist if it's not here. And then we have a marketing unit and project unit like before, and a beneficiary who is involved in the social and economic marginalized people who are involved in promotion of the products. They get 3%, and Ganga project at 10%. So here we have the farmer and the processing unit together. They get 69%, but the farmer by himself gets lower, because the work is higher in processing the product and doing it
Yeah.
correctly and packaging it correctly. So you'll see. So that's how the blockchain will reveal in each case who they are, what they are doing, and what they are getting. And this is where the product blockchain, as we call it, this is where the Ganga project and Green Earth really take off in a different direction from almost every other project.
And that's amazing news. And you said it's sort of up and running since December, since our last show, when you sort of
Yes.
announced that. So how's it going since it's been
No,
live?
the product launch happened. The soft launch happened with alumni a week before, and the
Yeah.
products are getting shipped now. And
Wow.
so by sometime next week, the shipments will be complete. It's important to mention here that the GEB tokens will get released once the transaction is complete, as in when the customer gets the shipment. It's not on the purchase, because in the system, the transaction is considered complete from Green Earth blockchain perspective once the product is delivered to the customer and customer says yes, received. At that point, the transaction is considered complete, and the system says transaction complete. And once that is complete, then Ganga project will send a file to Green Earth blockchain saying, here's the transaction which is complete, along with the respective users or participants with their respective shares. And then
Okay.
the Green Earth system will, at that point, take a completed transaction and post it on the blockchain, and also release the predefined ratio of tokens to each of those users or participants.
Okay, that's an important detail. So each participant gets its allocated tokens the moment the full transaction is
It's
complete.
complete.
Right.
It's completed. So the transaction gets posted on the blockchain, which
Yeah.
is in this case the Algorand chain, and then also the tokens get uh, released. Now, suppose the users are coming for the first time, then their wallets also get created by the system, and the tokens then get uh, released into that wallet, and the user gets an email saying that here's your wallet creation, uh, and here's your token reward.
Yeah, and I think that's also your next slide that you gave me, which sort of goes into that, I think, a little bit.
This one is on the e-commerce side. This is the Ganga project side development path ahead. The
Yeah.
e-commerce system is the one which is still evolving. The greener blockchain side, that is already done in terms of handling the transactions and issuing tokens to users and sending them the mail. That part is done,
Yeah.
and we will be testing that in real as the transactions get completed and shipped. So here, this side is just to indicate where we are in terms of our work. The site is live, the e-commerce site, the web app as we call it. The UI still is getting improved as we test it for different phones. And there's an admin module at the back end. It's called the Ganga Project Admin Module.
Mhm.
Currently, it's on web app only, but we want to bring that on Android, just the admin part, so that all the uh, users and validators, especially validators, can see it on the phone itself instead of
Yeah.
web app.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
because the
Because
validators, they're on the ground and they are always moving between
yeah,
farms.
and then of course internet is critical in this whole operation, right?
Oh
Everybody has to
yes,
have a
yeah,
device or connection.
that part is yes, I agree. That's a critical part. We almost kind of assume that it will be there, but yes, that's a critical requirement that the connectivity should be there for them to post their updates, and the validators require that. So this requirement for the Ganga project admin module to come on Android app is more towards giving the people on the ground, especially the validators, the panel to, and also the courier, people involved in the team to track the transactions and mark it complete, even if they are on the ground somewhere, not necessarily on the desk. And
Yeah.
so that is one key work ahead. And then we are improving the customer feedback and engagement module. That part is still, we can say, is there, but we want to improve that further to take feedback better. And then the work on the natural health and eco travel modules will happen. So currently we have you keep seeing examples of food products, right?
Yes.
uh, and then in our vision we also cover the use cases related to natural health care, means products which are specifically for health, and almost you can say the category of ayurvedic products, those will come on this, and all those products along with the specific people who are very deeply educated in ayurveda, they will be giving those products, so their ratings will come on the site along with the product quality which is authentic and tracked by Green Earth. And so that therefore people can see that if for example for let's say heart or kidney or diabetes, certain ayurvedic product is being sold on Ganga by some ayurvedic practitioner, then we can see over a period of time what rating he is getting by users and what rating the product got. So overall you can get a rating on both the person and the product. And of course we are tracking it authentically, so we know that the product is authentic. Now whether it is actually
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
working for the case for the users, that will get tracked in a very authentic way by the system. So the product is authentic, but is it actually the efficacy of the product, that will be tracked by the
And the
blockchain.
eco travel?
Eco travel, yes, this is a module of high demand. Actually, this is a eco travel is basically travels into the Himalayas,
Ah,
and so there are we have team members who have experience in traveling into the deserts of Rajasthan in India as well as into the Himalayas. So they conduct camps, and also for the whitewater rafting in the Ganga River in the Himalayas. So there are various kinds of uh, eco travel packages that we have or we can offer to team members through our team members, and these are basically the aim is to offer, let's say, the travel into the nature in a way which is having a sustainable way without damaging nature. So that orientation. So we want to bring some of these packages on the site through our team members
and
who
that's
have
really
experience in
nice.
this. Yeah, so that will also come.
Yeah. So yeah, I think we covered a lot. I think there's one more slide, right?
Yeah, and so this is the last point is that as of now we are just working with web app for Ganga,
Yeah.
and as we stabilize this app, and if there is a separate need for Android or iOS apps, we will go for that. But as of now, we'll just focus on web app and its stability. That's the first goal because that should help our first set of uh, requirements for the next quarter at least.
Yeah.
Okay,
That makes
and the
sense.
last slide is basically this is our roadmap slide for GBT and the goals. So we are uh, we are now in Q4 2024, and some of these goals will be moving into Q1, Q2 because we were focused on getting our project live, and it has taken a bit longer than what we thought. And so, therefore, the listing of GBT on other exchanges like P2P or Gate. Gate is an exchange we would like to list at some point. It's a larger exchange with global visibility,
Yeah.
and also listing the GBT token on Coin Market Cap for global visibility of the project. And whenever we get listed on Coin Market Cap, the ranking also will start showing with the market cap.
Yeah.
The trading volume of GBT has been around 50, averaging around 50K USDT a day, mostly on DEX trade, which is where the volume is mostly there. And what we have figured out is that it's better to have one exchange where liquidity is there rather than through two or three exchanges where each of them has low liquidity. So we GBT is currently available on DEX trade and Windax in centralized exchanges, and it's available on Tinyman in the decentralized exchanges. Okay,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. But those are not super user friendly. So you want to get more engagement, right?
yeah, so at this point, these are doing the work, and as we the focus has been to improve the project fundamentals, and it is still the focus even as we go into the next year to increase the user base of the project, and to increase the e-commerce transactions, and to get more and more people using the project. And
Yeah.
I think that if we do that, then the token adoption will automatically start increasing. And one of the things that also comes into our roadmap for next year is to list GEBT token in an exchange in India, subject to how things are looking favorable in terms of regulations to list GBT in India. So
Nice.
at some point we'll do that also because the largest user base of GBT tokens would be in India as we grow here in the near term. So it will be good for them to have the GBT token listed in an Indian exchange so that they can see its value in rupee terms, the local fiat also.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's crucial. Yeah.
that way they can get a sense of what its value. It's currently valued at 1.2 USDT, and they can see, okay, what is it in terms of rupees, and there will be some liquidity there as well. As project grows, we are seeing people who are interested in just buying some tokens and keeping. So those kind of people will also join the project. In fact, from the time we went live, multiple uh, uh, health and food producers have already approached us and asked how they can participate with us. So that interest is already starting to rise when we just going live. So I think in 2024 we will see many authentic producers of food wanting to join Ganga because and Green Earth, because it if they can have their product on the site, it is a vote of authenticity for them. And because we will not list any product till we get the full transparency of their chain. So those who can provide that transparency, they can bring their product here, and that will be itself a very strong, uh, let's say, endorsement for their own product and their brand that they are authentic. So
And then you
those
give
people are
that.
coming. And similarly, health products, like you said, health products also will come. Healthcare, Ayurvedic side of products, natural products, natural healthcare, they'll come. So we will see products expanding. Just to give you numbers, currently 88 products are on the site as of now, 88. And by end of Q1, about 40 to 50 products more can come on the site. And just to give you an idea of where the system can expand or how it can expand, uh, across India as we expand, we can there is a space to add between 100,000 to 200,000 validators.
Wow,
So that is
that's a
the
lot.
scope or space available in the system as we reach out to different parts of India, different farmers, different food producers and suppliers, and natural healthcare suppliers and producers. So in terms of, so that is equivalent of, let's say, 100,000 to 200,000 nodes. So the scope is there, and we're just starting on that direction. All of it won't happen in 2024, but 2024 is the year where the system is live and we start adding validators state by state or district by district within each state,
It's sort
like
of
that.
when the flywheel starts moving and you get the network effect.
Yes,
Do
there's a
you?
very strong network effect in Ganga. That's the, I think, those people, everyone who is coming from an industry or an business side, entrepreneurs, they are seeing very strong network effect in Ganga because they can see how it has been structured. The reach of Ganga is going to be, imagine we have validators in every district in India. So the reach will be enormous in terms of messaging, what, and that's why I think those who are watching this video should understand that when we do get to implementing the vision, even midway, the GBD token would be the only crypto that most people would be aware of because they are not having any crypto so far. And when they think crypto, they will think GBT because that's what they know as a crypto. And we're talking about hundreds of thousands of people or maybe a million plus people as users. So that's the project in terms of its scope.
It will be a gateway to crypto and
Yes.
Bitcoin
So
and
the very
decentralized.
first crypto, yeah, the very first crypto for uh, probably a million plus people in India would be GPT.
And you also mentioned something really nice earlier, because you basically what it also does is create a level playing field, right? Because taking out the middleman, it allows Indian farmers to basically compete with farmers outside of India on a more equal or fair basis, right? They get more money for their products,
Yes, I
more
think,
fair price.
yeah, I think I would say that the farmers get a level playing field against the middlemen within
Yeah,
India. The For the vast majority of food products, the competition is not from outside India. The competition is from adulteration or some kind of, let's say, tampering, lower quality to increase volume. And sometimes it's pure demand supply. So, for example, sometimes the onions are in short supply and their prices just skyrocket but
Yeah.
often we don't know the entire story because middlemen may be blocking large supplies to sell them at higher rates. So the so the so the role of middlemen in price rises is very well documented in India in commodity agricultural products. So when we have a chain like this, at least for these products, people will know, the farmers will know. For example, the honey farmer will know that he can get this much revenue share with Green Earth if he's authentic. The apple farmer in Himalayas will know that he will get 74% of the revenue share, which is the highest possible, because typically earlier they would be selling it to a middleman who would keep maybe 50% of the profit,
Yeah.
or the sale value. Now they're getting that. So with time, more and more farmers who are producing products authentically without pesticides, insecticides, etc., they will be very keen to join us because they get a much larger revenue share. Plus, their work is visible to
Yeah.
everyone. So the farmer, for the first time, for example, on Ganga and Green Earth, for the first time, those remote farmers in the Himalayas ever get to see their customers. Otherwise, they were nameless, faceless people. Nobody even knew they existed. So,
Yeah.
for the first time through the blockchain, these remote farmers even become visible to consumers.
And they profit from the network effect. As
Yes,
Ganga grows,
yes,
they grow with. Yeah.
yeah. They go with the project, and yes, and their efforts get rewarded with the highest revenue share. So they
And you
get
could
reward.
even say, on top of that, they also profit from the growth of crypto itself, right? The crypto
Yes,
revolution
so they get
itself.
tokens as well. So, for example, that 74% revenue share will also be matched with a larger allocation of GBT on that transaction to that farmer. So,
Yeah.
so they get that GBT tokens as a reward, and in, let's say, 5 years ahead, GBT has gained in value. That's a bonus that they have received, which tomorrow they can sell at some future rate on the exchange in India.
Yeah, this is all music to my ears, and like I said, every time I love what you're doing, and I'm really happy that it's coming along.
Yeah.
2023 was a difficult year for everybody, but I think you managed to yeah, put a really amazing project together, and I can't wait for 2024 for Green Earth blockchain token.
Yeah, same here. We also are looking to scale this up now that the platform is live and ready. And I think by end of quarter 1, we will have the first batch of video testimonials from users coming in. Users who are either as buyers of the products and also validators, as well as the farmers, their videos telling their experience of working with Ganga and Greenearth blockchain. So we will get those videos also on the site, and I think that will showcase the project in a much more real way to people worldwide.
Yeah, that will be very exciting. And yeah, I think you will be on probably in a month from now because we do these
Yeah,
monthly updates and they're
yeah,
a lot of fun. Yeah, tell everybody to follow Green Earth on Twitter. Of course, you have a Twitter handle. It's all on this page, but you also have a website, of course. And I'll link it all down below the YouTube video. Is there anything that you want to highlight that we haven't talked about?
I think we covered almost everything today, and so we closing the year on a good note, and we are looking forward to increasing and improving everything on 2024.
Yeah, and I think also in regards of Bitcoin, things are looking quite bright. So I think it will be a nice crypto year. Of
Yeah, I
course,
think
not
on the
financial
yeah
advice.
on that note, I will just advise everyone, or advise, inform, or educate my view. My view is that 2024 and 2025 together would be very positive for crypto, and one should definitely hold Dogecoin.
Yeah, I got some. So, but yeah,
Yeah,
I totally agree, and I love having you on, Shankar, and I can't wait till yeah,
mm,
probably the end of January. I wish
yeah,
you a really nice new year,
yes.
um,
So
and
wishing
to
everyone,
everybody.
yeah, same here, Nick. Wishing everyone who is watching this a very happy new year, and we wish good health and success to everyone who's watching this.
Yes. And with that positive note, we'll end the show and say goodbye.
Yeah,
Take care.
bye.